Oh, we have another action-packed show for every single one of you as we are about to begin another episode of Productive Conversations here in a new edition of the TweetCap. We have a lot to get into. We're going to try some new segments and let us recap the crazy week that we all just experienced here in mid-January, guys. So Ryan and Jose are here. What's up, gentlemen?
How's it going,
What's
Matt?
up?
Great to see you all. I'm very, very good. So let's have some fun as per usual. First things first. Why don't we begin with television's biggest night? Despite it being the very lowest rated ceremony in this particular show, the Emmys were last Monday, or this past Monday, the 75th annual primetime Emmys. And this was pushed back because of the strikes going on in Hollywood, but we did honor those programs that happened from June 1st, 2022 until May 31st, 2023. So shows like The Bear and Succession killed it, both winning 6 statues each for the show. And some other shows that was recognized. We had Beef, which is an incredible limited series on Netflix. I was a big fan of it in the summer. Ryan's boy John Oliver takes another best talk show. I think it's something like his 10th or
Yeah.
something. Crazy stuff. Other awards include like Abbott Elementary is a big hit on NBC. We have Blackbird, we have Dahmer and Daily Show and all of that. RuPaul's Drag Race, White Lotus. Cool night for TV, even though it was the lowest rated. It was the by the way, I said Abbott Elementary's on ABC, even though it was the lowest rated Emmys ever, and it seems like only real cinephiles really care about this, like myself. But why does no one care about the Emmys, guys? Even though it gives us some memeable moments, which we'll talk about.
I mean, I think you have to just look at it as who can relate to the Emmys. Think about your job at home. When you do a good job, no one, we don't put it on TV. Everyone, I've done a good job today. I was, top sales rep or whatever. You don't get you sometimes, by the way, you do get an award for that. Like there are sales groups and there are like, teacher of the year and things like that. Those all exist. These awards exist in other industries. We just don't televise it because obviously we don't. So it's just a practice in ego. They're TV personalities, right? They're actors and big celebrities, and they like to be on television as much as possible. And they, they just want people to see them. And I think the difference now is that what a celebrity is different today than it was when the Emmys started. Now you see like your celebrity at home eating dinner on their Instagram, or you know what I mean? Like you'll see your favorite celebrity on like a date. They'll live stream a date on YouTube or Twitch. Like there's a lot more connection with celebrities that you don't need to see like the perfectly kind of manicured um award show circuit. But there
Right.
was definitely some memeable moments, as you said. And so if you're interested in this stuff, it was, I don't think, it was certainly better than the Golden Globes in terms of watchability, but it's just not interesting anymore.
And
I
people
don't
do
know when
watch these
the,
shows. Hmm?
I don't know when the last time I watched the Emmys, to be honest with you. I don't even
Well,
watch TV like that. If it's not on Netflix, I pretty much don't even watch it.
Netflix is the only channel for you.
Pretty much, I'm not gonna pay cable TV. I'm not gonna go pay ultimately $70 for the basic channels now.
I
I
feel
mean,
Question
that. I
then:
feel that.
do you think, and this is just me spitballing here, Matt, you might have a strong opinion about this. What if the streamers finally created their own award that's only for streamers, like the streaming shows? So ABC, all of those are out.
Hmm.
We're talking premium or paid streaming, and they have their own award, and they simulcast it on those streaming
Ha ha ha
platforms.
ha ha.
Do you think that would have a better number than, and I, even like to make a fair comparison, do a one night only simulcast, right? Would that, you think, do better or worse than the current like Emmys?
Well, Ryan, the streamer awards do exist. They're literally
Oh,
called the Streamer Awards.
there you
I
go.
see it right here. And the Streamer Awards is an annual award show that celebrates achievements in the live streaming industry over the past year.
Oh,
It's gonna
live
be
streaming.
on the 17th. And I believe it's gonna be on Twitch, hosted by QT Cinderella and mystery
Okay.
host, who I have no
Yeah.
idea who
So
this is.
I don't mean that kind of streaming. Obviously, I mean like Netflix streaming.
Oh, like
But
specifically not
yeah. So like cut out anyone that wasn't on like Netflix or HBO or Hulu. Like those are the shows that would be eligible.
I mean, why not? It was might as well. I think they also have their place in TV too, but
Hmm.
just one of the things the Emmys really should at least should establish is the difference between comedy and drama. I mean, the rule of thumb is, usually a half an hour series is usually comedy and then the hour long drama.
Hmm.
But yet, some of these shows that it's hilarious that are nominated for comedy series. We have The Bear, which we'll talk about. That's a
Hmm.
very serious show that deals with very serious topics. I
Yep.
mean, they like in particular the first season was nominated, and it starts with the stress of a kitchen and dealing with somebody's
Hmm.
suicide in the family and laugh out loud comedy according to Emmys. And then we have Barry, the fourth season, which was extremely dark, and I loved it, but I generally don't think there was anything funny about this season where there was a lot of murder and killing, and they thought it was a joke. So here we go. Barry's nominated. And
By contrast, I'm just about because I'm looking at it, The White Lotus, which is actually a pretty funny show,
mhm.
that got to be in the drama category, and Succession, which again I agree is a drama, but if we're going to call The Bear a comedy, I would say that Succession has as many laughable moments as The Bear. Succession, has Will Ferrell behind it in terms of production, like producer. So, it's got some comedy people involved at even the highest levels of that show. And that made drama. So you're right. It seems almost like they wanted to just keep The Bear and Succession separate. And so they
I guess
did.
essentially.
And so they found a way to do that by making sure one of them was a drama and one of them was a comedy, even though I think there's very little difference between the amount of laughs and the amount of dark humor that's present in both of them.
And that's what's funny. Like in terms of dark humor, especially Barry, there was no humor. It was just dark.
Well, Barry used to be
Oh yeah, it used to
very
be
clearly
hilarious.
comedy, so that might have just been like a hangover from the earlier seasons when it was very clearly a comedy.
Yeah,
And
took the whatever turn creatively, which was one I supported, and it would make sense
mhm.
for that character's world. But oh well. But speaking of Succession, Ryan, and Ryan and Jose, we did a Succession pod earlier.
The two.
Um, we did two to recap the finale, and ultimately the last season got 6 awards, as mentioned. And what's funny now is that all of the Roy family except Connor um gets an Emmy out of it.
Yeah.
That is
uh
pretty good. The big one with Kieran Culkin winning. We have let me just jot it down with Kieran Culkin winning the outstanding lead actor in a drama series. It go against some big folks, including Jeremy Strong and Pedro Pascal, Last of Us, and Bob Odenkirk. What I thought should have won. Jeff Bridges, um, Brian Cox. They all won.
yeah.
Shiv Roy takes home with Sarah Snook. I know Matthew McFadden gets another one for Tom. Pretty exciting stuff. And also the writing was properly recognized. Connor's Wedding was takes home for drama for writing. The death. By the way, at this point, spoilers for this section. Everybody should be aware. Um, but Connor's. I mean, geez, why am I forgetting his name?
Logan Roy.
Logan Roy's death,
Yeah.
which is a big deal, obviously, and that it seems to take home their Emmys. And I could look deeper because the way it works, the actors submit their best performance to the
Mhm.
committee, and they decide from there. So I don't know what specific episode they they submitted. I can look it up at another time, but yeah, Succession
Is
ends
that
on top. What was
is
the? Mhm.
is that really how it works?
Yeah,
Like
that's
if
how the
I was
actors
on a
were.
TV show, I can select the TV show that I liked and give it and present it. That's my thing.
That's of you. Like whatever you
Yeah.
felt
Yeah,
was your best
you
episode, you
pick your
submitted
best
it,
episode. Yeah.
and they go
Oh,
from
and
there.
I never knew that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what's up.
Yeah. So
Well, so that way it's not like, the season finale of one show against like random episode two of
Right,
another
right,
show in like their first season. You know what I mean? Like the
right.
series finale is going to be very different than like the second episode of the first season of
right, and if
you know
Gotcha.
what
you
I mean?
really felt
So
you were good in it, the finale, you could have
sure,
submitted
yeah.
two, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah. If you
I know
thought that,
what
that
you
was your
mean.
best, then you do it. But yeah, it gives them the chance to try and, even playing field, the best of the season, as it were.
Gotcha.
But Ryan, what do you think ultimately Kieran Culkin was the one to get an Emmy for this? Do you think he deserved it?
So yeah, I do. When he won at first, I was confused. I mean, we did the show. We talked about Succession, you and I. Um, and so at first I was a little confused. I thought the other two people from Succession probably made more sense to win than he did.
Hmm.
Both Brian Cox and Jeremy Strong were nominated in the same category, but like just thinking about the way that his character was written throughout the last season, and then I know that there's probably supposed to be kind of blinders. You're supposed to look at the art as the art, like what's in front of you, very technical in a lot of ways, but you can't completely ignore. There's no way that the judging team can completely ignore the longevity of that show and like the way that the character and the actor moved throughout the entire series, not just this last season.
Yeah.
And so, given that we know that that's true, that's just a fact that that's something that they do, whether they intentionally do so or not. Yeah, he was incredible as this character. There's probably no one else on the planet who could do the character. I don't know if you could say that about any of the other nominees.
Hmm.
As good as a lot of them were, like Pedro Pascal, like as good as they all were, I think if you really sat down and said we need to find someone else, you probably could. But because because he Roman was such a weird guy and a weird character, it felt like he just embodied it so perfectly. And I think when you do that, when you become a person and like and the
Yeah.
wall falls down, that's probably indication that you were the best. If you can't see anyone else being able to do what you just did, that would make you clearly the best at what you just did. um, I think it comes with downfalls we talked about. I'd be interested to see what his next big project is. But I know he's a father of young kids, so maybe he doesn't have a big project
And
for a
requested
while.
more kids
Yeah, so who
during
knows?
his speech.
Yes, he did.
So his next movie is one that's set in Poland with Jesse Eisenberg. I saw a promotional picture for it,
Oh, cool.
and we'll see. Jose, have you seen Succession?
No, I have
Oh, that
not.
sucks.
I'm like
Um,
one in the view.
um, so I actually seen Kieran Culkin 10 years ago in a play on Broadway called This Is Our Youth. And I knew who he was from Scott Pilgrim. So I thought, and Macaulay Culkin's brother. Um, and look at him now. And he was incredible in the play. So he has acting chops, clearly.
Oh yeah.
He's also a fellow wrestling fan. And I wish the
Mm-hmm.
only content I've seen him talk was on Mark Maron's pod. And I'm genuinely interested on his thoughts in the wrestling world now. So I
I think
request.
he talked about a little bit on Hot Ones too. I could be wrong about that.
Really? Well,
I
please talk
watched it,
about it
but I
some
don't
more.
remember.
So I have to ask this bold question. Who do you, oh wait, I should say the episode that Kieran Culkin won. Let me ask, what do you think was the episode he submitted to win the Emmy in season 4?
Ooh.
I have the answer, but what do you
Oh,
think?
you know the answer?
Yeah, yeah. I just Googled it.
Oh man. I would say I think that his best episode. I mean, it could obviously be Connor's wedding slash. That was I think
So that
everybody's
was the
best episode.
episode Tom submitted to win.
Yeah, that's everyone's best episode in my opinion, but because it's the best episode of the show of the
He
series.
he
But I
didn't win
think
for this.
the election night episode he was good in, because he had to be a real, a real piece of work in that episode. And he's a pretty likable character. I mean, they're all dislikable because they're
Mhm.
uber rich and self-centered, but he was very clearly meant to be the baddest of the bad guys, and he had to be very unlikable in that episode. And I think he did it really well. Um, and I believe that one ended, I think, with the riot in the street.
Yes.
And so I'm going to say that was the one he submitted.
The answer is actually no. It
Oh,
was the second to last episode, the wedding, the funeral of his father.
oh,
That's what he won the Emmy for.
that's another one they probably all could have submitted.
Yeah, I guess was
Just
it
think
that
about
I
that.
saw on Twitter that moment when he's crying and he can't actually do the
Yeah.
eulogy. I literally saw people said he won the Emmy for that, and I guess he did.
I mean, I'll just say, as like, if you've never had to deliver a eulogy before,
Hmm.
it's hard. It's
Hmm.
real hard. So you know, I would say, yeah, he did a great job. I think that I think all three of them did a great job. I think that the way that the three
Yeah,
kids reacted, there were three different, obviously three different scenes, like, things, but all three of them felt very authentic. You could see all three of those things happening. A critical eulogy, right?
yeah,
A very positive, eulogy about strength, and then just completely breaking down, being unable to speak. So yeah, that totally makes sense.
So, by the way, I mess. So, Sarah Snook and Matthew McFadden submitted the same episode for their Emmy win. What do you think it was?
Oh, didn't we just say it was the
No, it's
wedding?
actually not.
Oh,
The
it's not.
that one for writing and directing.
Hmm.
But what did
For
Shiv
those
and
two,
Tom submit?
the finale.
Nope. It was the tailgate party. That scene, that fight they had on top.
Huh. Okay.
That's what they won the Emmy for,
Interesting. That's a good one
and they
too.
did.
It's all good. I like the show. Jose, you should watch the show.
Yeah,
I
it is a
will.
great show.
It's on
Um,
HBO, right?
that's right.
HBO, and it's not like, because people say, like, all the time. I mean, I've watched it, but like, oh, watch Game of Thrones or watch Breaking
Mm-hmm.
Bad, but those shows have so many seasons. Like, it's so hard to catch up on that show because there's
Right.
just so much content. This is pretty quick.
Yeah,
You know,
four
four
seasons,
seasons is
40 episodes,
not a big lift at all.
which I respect, and I
Okay.
think more of the great shows should and will do that moving up
Mm-hmm.
forward. Um, so I have to ask the bold question here:
Mm-hmm.
who do you think has a bigger legacy at this moment between two of the Culkin brothers, Macaulay Culkin or Kira Culkin? Who has a bigger legacy at this moment? I think it's a pretty hard question, don't you think?
I have an answer, but Jose, do you want to jump in? I think we
I
might
mean,
have the
you're
same answer.
saying, but you're, I mean, you're saying it's going to be the younger brother. You're saying at this very moment.
Well, of course, at the small, if you want to go the recency bias, but look at the whole picture. Basically,
Oh, then it's
who's more
Macaulay.
who's
All right, we agree. I agree. As much as I mean, Keenan Culkin obviously, won an award. He's doing really great, but Macaulay Culkin is an actual icon. And honestly, what's crazy about it is he became an icon at what, 11? I mean, seriously, Home Alone, like,
oh yeah.
that's it. That's it. You don't have to do anything. He did other things, by the way, but you don't have to do anything else. Home Alone is such an iconic movie franchise, by the way.
By the way, what Ryan? Well, Ryan paused again.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I agree. That's an iconic classic. Home Alone is as good as it gets there, and though
The only thing that
Kieran,
the only thing that hinders Macaulay Culkin, he did the whole Home Alone, then he had the whole Michael Jackson thing, and then he kind of like disappeared right after.
yeah,
With the
and I
younger
really don't
brother,
see much to. Oh, you sorry, you're saying?
with the younger brother, I mean, he can really now with all this, like now with the toy, like now I know who he is. I mean, depends on what he does after, can really blow up.
Facts, and there are a lot of good indie roles that I've seen Kieran Culkin in, like Igby, then as I mentioned, Scott Pilgrim. That's not an indie, but other roles, I should say. He's really good in Fargo. Dope actor. Dope
Mhm.
actor. And look at him now. Look at him now. And
Yeah.
now we could talk about The Bear, though, which is the very best TV show on the air right now, if you ask me. It is on my top 4 favorite TV shows of all time. And
Really?
yes, it
Oh
seriously is.
wow.
And I'll explain why shortly. But first we have Ryan back here. Ryan's back. All right, Ryan, you're back.
Yeah, we have some weather rolling into the area. Hopefully that was just a little blip, but just
Snow
FYI.
wise,
Yeah. So
shoot. All right. Well, we were just saying how now Kieran has a lot of momentum, but they're
Yeah.
both at least you could say this. They both will be known for being themselves instead of like, oh, that's this person's brother or this person's sister. Like
yeah, I think that's
they're
fair.
separated people like the Affleck brothers or
Oh, that's the worst example. Affleck
what
brothers.
both of them have
Everybody's
different Oscars for different movies.
yeah, but you still like what's his name? Casey. You still like that's Ben Affleck's little brother. And, like
You
you
think
ain't see
so?
him as yes.
I think so,
Yeah.
actually. I'm agreeing with
I
Jose
think
on this
when I
one
see
as well.
Casey Affleck, I was like, that's Casey Affleck, who just so
Yeah,
happens to have
yeah.
a more famous brother.
You're right. You say that's Casey Affleck. What's name? The younger brother of Ben. Yes, I agree with you. That's how you started, but you ended with Ben.
I think that's true.
What other siblings are there like that then?
Where they're both famous.
But
Both
like they're
famous.
not like, yo, you're your little brother, you're his little brother. I don't even know
You
who's
could
older.
do the Baldwins.
The bald, well,
Yeah.
they're crazy.
No, but no, in fairness, no one looks at the Baldwins and says you're ex Baldwin's brother. They are all
Yes.
separate people.
Right,
You know what
right.
I mean? No one is like, oh, that's Billy Baldwin's older brother, or that's Alec Baldwin's
Mhm.
younger brother. There's like that's Stephen Baldwin.
and the
You know what I
Culkins,
mean?
there's like
So,
8 of them too. Those
which
are the 2 favorites.
again, in the Culkin power ranking, Kieran's doing really good.
Right?
Yes.
He's
What others?
2, maybe even 1B at this point. But I do think that Macaulay Culkin is an American icon in like American culture, and so he's locked it in. He's the number 1 seed from now on until forever.
You don't look at the Kelces like that Jason Kelce, that's the older brother, or Travis, that's the younger brother. You don't look at that.
I mean, I think Travis Kelce is
Or the
more
Mannings.
famous.
Or the man. I think Peyton and Eli are
the Mannings
perfectly.
are actually a very good example of what you're trying to
Yes.
say. No one is like
Right.
that's Peyton Manning's little brother or that's Eli
No.
Manning's older brother. Peyton and Eli Manning are very much their own people.
Right. And that's basically all I'm saying. Their own people now. I think Kieran and McCulkey. And
I don't know that that's possible.
Not even
because of how just not even
how much
because
they
of
look like
anything
each
bad.
other. One
Well,
has
that
blonde
too.
hair, one has black hair.
But like just again, I would say that part of this is nostalgia. But like the 80s are like a time that Americans really like cling to. You know what I mean? Like so much of culture, like modern culture, came from the 80s, and Macaulay Culkin was a huge part of one of the most influential times in pop culture. So
yeah,
I really
that movie
do
came out in
think,
1990 though, but same thing.
you know what I mean? He
So,
was like, yeah, that time period.
But
So
you also realize with the younger Culkin is like number 3 in the family though. Like you have Macaulay Culkin number 1, then you have Macaulay Culkin's wife that's number 2, and then you
Brenda's
have him
song.
as
Brenda's song, no. Kieran Culkin
She
is so much more famous than Brenda.
That's
no
London
bull
Tipton.
crap.
Yes, come on.
I've never
No
seen her in
way.
anything else. Well, the
I've seen her
Social
as
Network.
all
London
them kids,
Tipton
though,
and as
all
the
them
girl from the
Disney-
bar.
All them Disney shows she did.
She did two.
Disney, what?
Two
She was in the
Disney
Social
shows.
Network hooking up with
So
somebody
she's
in the
smoking.
bathroom.
She's smoking hot. I'll know her before I see Macaulay Culkin's little brother walking down the street. I'm just saying.
No. I can
Oh, you want to
you.
know who's an extreme example? You know, Jason Bateman had has a famous sister from the 80s, Justine Bateman. She was like really big in the 80s. Like she hosted Saturday Night Live and everything.
Yeah.
But now she's like, you think that was just like your Jason Bateman's sister?
Probably, yeah. I think going first also helps, I will say.
You have to go first. This is
Well, you don't think you have to, but I think being the first one is helpful.
How about
That's not
Jonah Hill and Benny Fiends? How do I pronounce it? You know, Jonah Hill has a famous sister,
I do. I don't know how to
Jeannie
say her name.
Feldstein.
And so I mean, people will have a comment about that. I'm sure that this room full of guys doesn't know how to say Jonah Hill's sister's name, but Jonah Hill is more
Jeannie
famous than,
Feldstein. That
yeah,
yeah.
Jonah
Jo-
Hill's more famous by a
okay.
considerable amount.
Yeah,
Next
I'm really
question.
interested to break this down. Anyone else? All right, so we'll go with the Mannings then, who
No,
are completely
the
different people.
Mannings. That yes, there you go. That's the
Mhm.
example you wanted, Matt.
All right, how about the Bear though, and why it's the best damn show on TV right now, winning 6 awards. Um, Here's the thing, and I really mean this, and no recency bias. The Bear is in my top 4. It's in my Mount Rushmore of favorite TV
Mm,
shows ever. And I see it because, especially, it comes out in a specific time of my life where I'm really grinding, especially back and forth between a city and here. And I see these characters, and I'm like, wow, I know what these people are dealing with. I see myself. I don't specifically work in a restaurant, but I've delivered a lot of from restaurants that look like the original Beef in Chicagoland. And seeing how they portray characters going through the struggle like that, I'm just like, this is this is what's going on. Both their backstories, and obviously it's well written, well shot, incredible performances by the entire cast. It's like, this is my show, and I love it. And I'm so glad it's getting recognized. And they just had a very successful second season, and they just got honored for their first season. Like this, Emmy wise, like this
yeah.
is the best thing on TV because it's a show about people going through it and you can relate to it and it's not phony. I love The Bear so much, and it's the best show on TV.
Yeah, and when this, like you said, this was all for the first season, which is
Yeah, really, just
crazy to
is.
think about. Like
Yeah, and,
they have a whole other season that wasn't even like thought about technically,
mhm.
technically when the judging happened. But yeah, I mean, I watched the first season. I've not finished the second season. I've been busy, but obviously, since this is about the first season, I can comment. Um, the pace of that show is like nothing I've ever seen.
Mhm.
I don't like. I don't know if I can name another time a television show gave me anxiety.
Yeah,
Like they are going so fast all the time, and I think that's really hard to like a film and
yeah,
b act. Because I mean, let's be honest, the folks, I mean, not all of them, but the stars of the show certainly, famous, pretty famous actors. They've all done stuff before. I wouldn't say that any of them are in the middle of struggling. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Um, so to be able to perform, like you said, at that speed when your regular life is not nearly as chaotic is you know, I think really really interesting.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I won't put it in my top 4 personal favorites
Mhm.
because it's not, and that would just be me lying. But
Yeah, this is just a me thing on that one.
yeah, but I mean it's definitely the best show in the category for which it won. I don't think that's controversial to say. I think it was the clear clear winner in the
The
in
comedy
the
category, laugh out loud
right, yes.
comedy.
Yeah, and again, laugh out loud comedy is not what I would call the show. So that might be something to explore at a later date. But
It's
it was
real,
in the
man. It's
comedy, yeah,
real.
it was in the comedy category, and it was certainly the best acted, best written, most interesting show in the category that it competed in. So I again totally think well deserved win. If you haven't watched the first season, do that, and then I would say probably watch the second season. I know I'm in the
Yes.
middle of it. It's good. Um, I'll be interesting to see how long it goes. Like you said, I think there's going to be a new move toward capping things off 3, 4, 5 seasons
Mhm.
and being done with it. And I know Jeremy Allen White is getting very famous very fast.
Mhm.
I watched him as Lip in Shameless,
I
which he
really
was
gotta watch
awesome
that
in.
show.
Good
Everybody
show, very
always
good
reference
show.
that, like, "Oh, that's Lip, that's Lip, that's Lip."
Yeah, he was
Like he
so
real,
good in that show.
he must be a real. Is he different than Carmi?
No, Lip is almost the exact same person, but truthfully, it's almost the exact same person.
And it's
I
both
will
in
say
Chicago too, right?
they're both in Chicago. Yeah, I will say though, just insider for that show, you'll find this interesting, Matt. Um, the star of that show originally was the oldest sister of the family,
Yeah.
uh, and she leaves the show, and
Stupid.
so, well, I mean,
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to say that. We have no idea why she left the show. Could have been a better job. Could have been something totally personal. But she leaves the show,
God, I really hope
and
it wasn't a better reason. Like she's
um,
you going through it or something.
but anyway, Jeremy Allen White, who had been a secondary character on the show, steps in as like the main focus of the show
Mhm.
flawlessly. And I think from that point on, he basically punched his ticket to be like an actual star, like someone
Yeah.
that could carry a show or carry a movie or whatever. And I think it's only gone up from there. So, I think he'll probably want out of the Bear at some point.
No, you can't. Then you got to cancel the show.
Oh no, I'm saying, yeah, no, I'm not saying that he'll leave and they'll do it without him. I'm saying they'll wrap it up 3-4 seasons like
Oh,
succession so he can
to
move
help
on.
him.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to do it without him. So
Exactly. Yeah,
I
I hope
think,
so. And
yeah,
when I see it, I'm look up for as many Jeremy Allen White interviews as I can because I feel like again he's a very fascinating person and he's someone to look up to and someone's made his own and we've talked about on the show before too and he seems like a genuine person too. So when I bring this up because I saw this story. Like the joke with him is he looks like Gene Wilder, which he does, right?
looks a lot like Gene Wilder.
And he's
Yeah,
probably been told that his whole life, right?
yeah,
And
probably.
I see this paparazzi go up to him, right?
Mhm.
You look like Gene Wilder, like literally the millionth time he's heard it. But the way he handled it, he was just like, yeah, I like Gene Wilder. And he was like very calm and very nice. And this is a paparazzi literally putting a camera in his face. And he handled it so well mannered. And yeah, I just respect that. And hopefully one day you get to come on the show because you are on the dream guest list, Jeremy Allen White.
Heard it here first.
The beginning, I'm starting now, the dream guest list. I've mentioned people, but I didn't bother to write their name. But now we will. Dream guest list. Jaw.
I like that.
Seriously,
Jaw on the dream guest list.
I mean, seriously, and especially the nuances of that character. And he can be funny on it. He could be serious. And the one particular scene that made me love this show forever, especially, I'm just like, yeah, this is my show for life, was simply there's a scene of him leaving work after this is him going home after a long day of work in his city, this is, I think, season 1, episode 3, 4, or 5, one of those. He gets a snack after making all these gourmet dishes, gets the peanut butter and jelly, and then he's just simply sitting on his couch, smoking a cigarette, and watching more culinary videos to work on his craft. And I've had those nights a lot in Jersey City to a T, working 10, 11, 12-hour days, and just sitting down on the couch after eating some simple snack and the smoking, maybe not, that's up to your interpretation, but then watching a video on my craft. I usually watch podcasts and I watch a lot of Letterman reruns and I'm like, yeah, this is me. So that's why that particular scene made me love the show, because that is been my life. So
yeah, well, that's why a lot of people like the show. It's relatable.
very,
Unlike
very
Succession, which is not relatable in any way, shape, or form.
You like the bear though, Jose?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I never saw the bear. I only heard of the bear when someone told me the bear, I thought cocaine bear.
Oh,
So like,
Have you seen Cocaine
about
Bear?
a bear?
Have you
Yes,
seen Cocaine Bear? Okay,
I
I have
have
also
seen
seen.
Cocaine Bear.
I have also seen Cocaine Bear. What did you think about Cocaine Bear?
It was my favorite movie.
well, Oscar nominate. We're covering the Oscars, and we'll see if they somehow get a nomination.
I don't know.
Cocaine Bear.
If Cocaine Bear gets an Oscar nomination, that's something else.
You like original song? I don't know.
Maybe for best original song.
or original screen. No, it would be an adapted
Yeah.
screenplay.
Yes, that bit.
Yes, it would be adapted. Because
Jeez.
it's you know who's really good in that, Matt, though? O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Oh yeah,
Yes, he
Yeah,
deserves an Oscar.
he's actually I
Jackson
mean
Jr.
I'm not gonna say Oscar worthy, but he's actually really good in that movie. He's also
I
I
gotta
think
see Cocaine Bear.
there's actually like Margot like Martindale, I think is how he said the last name. She's in it. Like there's real actors in the movie, and it's kind of crazy that they had so
Ray
many real actors.
Liotta.
Ray Liotta's last movie,
Yeah.
Carrie Russell, from the
I
again
like her.
Emmy nominated, I think Emmy winning actress from the Americans.
Americans, yeah, I
Yeah,
think so
so
too.
they have some real talent on this cast, but the
Well,
movie
good
just
for them.
conceptually is about a bear that's on drugs.
Just
So
make a movie, everybody. Yeah,
But
and one last.
any idea is
homeboy,
a good idea.
homeboy on the show is dating that Spanish singer. So
Rosalia,
that kind of
Rosalia,
yes. So
yeah,
that
Jeremy
kind of
Allen
made
White.
me
Mhm.
kind of made me interested in just checking that show out.
No,
There
seriously,
you
he's
go.
great, and I'm
He's very
happy
good.
for him. What a wonderful day what a wonderful situation. And one last thing, Ryan, was Jeremy Allen White, right?
Mhm.
You're the one only who you've seen both The Bear and Iron Claw
I have.
and Shameless seems his three best roles. It seems those are three characters, though, all very stressed with broken homes.
Yeah, he definitely seems like he's getting typecast as broken man. So I will say that his role as Carrie Von Erich is the most substantially different.
Mhm,
Um, but it's weird. I'll say this: his role. It's not surprising that his role in The Bear is his best. I would contend
mhm.
because while there is definitely that through line from Lip to Carrie Von Erich, Carmi has some of both.
Yeah.
You talk about ambition and determination. That's a very Carrie Von Erich trait. It's also a very Carmi trait. When you talk about that, hard scrabble upbringing, that blue collar kind of vibe. Maybe even less than blue collar, maybe even actually poor. It's unclear if Carmi
Mhm.
grew up poor, but he certainly didn't grow up rich. Um, and that's a very Lip Gallagher like thing, where that's not a Von Erich thing. I mean, obviously money wasn't great because they ran a local wrestling promotion, but they were on TV, and you know what I mean. Like money wasn't a huge issue for the Von Erichs. So Carmi definitely has the best of a couple different stuff that he's played in those other two roles, which I do find kind of interesting. It is this weird blend of his other two most popular roles. But yeah, definitely likes to play a stressed out overachiever. I would say that
Mhm.
is a through line that goes through all three shows pretty well. Also, substance abuse.
Mhm.
All three suffer or had previously suffered from substance abuse, which
I don't think
I don't
I don't
know.
think there's been I don't know about Carmi suffer from substance abuse, but
Season 2, he's in an Al-Anon meeting. So
well, yeah, for his brother. But
yeah,
could
but I
you?
mean, he's impacted by it.
Oh,
Is
sorry,
what I'm
impact. I
saying.
thought you meant it didn't have to be him personally doing it,
Well, I
but
mean,
being
so
impacted by
just
it.
so you know, so in Shameless, he is the alcoholic. Obviously, in Iron Claw, he plays Carrie, who did drugs. That was Carrie's thing. So in those two,
Mhm.
he actually is it. But just in general, there's a
Yeah, I
through
see what you
line
mean.
of like substance abuse being pivotal to all three of those characters in a specific way. Because I do think the substance abuse, while it's not his substance abuse,
Yeah.
is like a pivotal. He had some very good scenes in the second season, particularly at those meetings, and so I think that it's an important through line for all three.
And yeah, hopefully, and I'm pretty confident he's more versatile than that in the right roles, and we will wait for them. But The Bear, all in all, a special show. I'm excited to see where they take it moving forward. There's definitely a season 3. I know they're pre-production getting ready for it, and yeah, it's the best show on TV for a reason. And speaking of The Bear. And The Bear really cleaned up at the Emmys this year because of its honest portrayal of a kitchen staff constantly against the grind of running a restaurant in Chicago. You can see throughout the series how stressful that show actually is. And as you mentioned, Ryan, just so stressful throughout.
100%.
But like you, me, Jose, and everyone else who's constantly stressed to accomplish something at work or in life, that certainly has been the case for me lately. Just always stressed. But with everything going on, and like the characters in the bear, just, life's hard right now for a lot of people. But eventually, as life goes on, the characters wound up needing to get focused and stay positive. And they also needed to stay productive as well. So getting focused and being productive. And that's like me in life, always finding a way to get focused and stay productive. Ultimately, everyone on and off the screen were hyper-focused on achieving something, and it wound up paying off. Hence why they won Emmys and why the characters were so well received. But that level of focus isn't just isolated in the world of TV, but for you, me, and anyone else who's looking to improve their focus and achieve more, we could get a little help from our new friends at Magic Mind. Ever since I started taking Magic Mind as a way to help improve my energy and improve focus on my busy life, I wound up finding the solution I needed with this great product. I started taking Magic Mind during my morning routine, and ever since then, it has made a big impact on my concentration and energy, making me feel more focused and better equipped for my day. And I have to say, it genuinely tastes good. It really, really tastes good. But no nootropics helped me. Sorry, no. This is a hard word. Excuse me, everybody. No nootropics helped me get through. The nootropics helped me get a lot through my day, right? The nootropics helped me get through what I needed to with this product. It allowed me to be less stressed about my world, and it doesn't have caffeine, so you don't need to feel bad about drinking your morning coffee, or you can replace it altogether because the stuff actually works. And why does it work? Well, for concentration and energy boost, it includes rhodiola rosea, which specifically is used to fight fatigue and anxiety, and it increases your body's resistance to stress. It improves physical and mental endurance, as well as help your mental clarity. Another ingredient I like with this product is cordyceps mushrooms are in this Magic Mind, which is an adaptation that reduces inflammation, strengthens your immune system, and supports higher energy levels. I mean, I genuinely used to have a hard time waking up in the morning lately, but ever since I took Magic Mind, it has been way easier to get up out of bed and get ready for my day, and I really mean it. And at the end of the day, I would recommend Magic Mind because it really gives me that extra boost we all need in this stressful world. It's helped me physically by getting my body ready for a full day. It's helped me mentally by giving the mental clarity I need to go about my business. Plus, it gives me the energy I need to get excited for my day. And all in all, it is a great product to help you live your best life, and I really mean it. And I want to emphasize again, it tastes incredible. So why not add the extra boost to your life and get fully focused like I did, and check out Magic Mind and check out the Magic Mind website and get this incredible product to help improve your life immensely. And I promise you, you won't regret it. The Magic Mind team was gracious enough to create a special offer for me to share with the Productive Nation, the greatest fans and listeners in the world. You get up to 56% off your first subscription in the month of January and 20% off your one-time purchase with discount code Productive20. And you could get this deal again at magicmind.com/Jan Productive Conversations. That's magicmind.com/Jan Productive Conversation and use discount code Productive20. And with the special code, you get an extra 20% off, which gets you a total of 75% off the entire purchase. This only lasts until the month of January, so hurry before it goes away. We will also have the link and code in our description on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. So check out the episode description for that code. So thank you to the amazing people at Magic Mind for this opportunity, and do yourself a favor and get this product and improve your life. So why don't we move on to some other things? Again, thank you, Magic Mind, for providing that for us. And why don't we now talk about what happened in Australia with the promotion? I guess this is their version of the Today Show, and we had Grayson Waller and LA Knight tried to promote Elimination Chamber. And Ryan, why don't you explain more what exactly happened?
Well, that host probably should have had a little bit of magic mind to focus up, because what was he thinking? So, for those of you who are uninitiated or haven't seen the clip, it's gone actually a little bit viral. These two hosts are talking to LA Knight, pretty famous WWE superstar, Grayson Waller, who, let's just be honest, less famous, but is Australian. So makes sense that he would be part of the promotion for their upcoming Elimination Chamber event, which is happening in Perth, Australia. And they asked the question that every news anchor and every talk show host ever of all time asks professional wrestling guests, which is, can you show us a signature move? Can you show us a finishing move? Can you show us one of your moves, etc.? This question has backfired tremendously in the past for pretty much everybody. But LA Knight plays the babyface, plays it cool, and kind of says no, I'm not going to beat up on anybody. But then the host pushes it. They don't just segue into, well, you could watch LA Knight do all of his moves at the like you would have done if you were, again, focused and professional. No, they offer up their production assistant or some sort of producer, some sort of stage crew.
Yeah, I think it was the floor manager.
Yeah, floor manager. Yeah. Sorry, there you go. To take the move. The floor manager then comes in, starts jawing with the wrestlers, puts up his dukes, and then they ask. Then Knight, knowing that he can't do anything because he's supposed to be the baby face, tosses it over to Grayson Waller, who does the best heel work anyone's done in a long time outside of a wrestling ring, and threatens to beat this man on television. He stands up, and when the host finally realizes that Grayson Waller is only maybe partially kidding, he breaks it up as Grayson Waller runs him down, runs the stage manager down, and then decides not to be mean to the second host, who was a fairly petite woman and was just kind of sitting there. But wrestling fans have all been pretty pumped. They've all been very pro Grayson Waller. It's just a tradition that when someone outside of wrestling tries to get you to break kayfabe or makes wrestling seem more of like a joke than it does itself, and it does that plenty on its own, that you stand up for it. And he did it so LA Knight didn't have to, which is also good, because as a up and coming baby face in the main event, he's got to be a good spokesperson. He's got to continue being invited onto these shows. So it's nice. It was good teamwork and been very well received by wrestling fans. So good for Grayson Waller.
Jose, what did you think about this situation?
I thought it helped Waller out. It made LA Knight the punk that he is.
What? That's my point.
No, Knight can't do anything, dude.
What do you mean he can't?
What is he gonna do? He's gonna, put him through a table?
So this happened. No, honestly, this happened when Hulk Hogan went on, and I don't remember the host's show.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
He put him in the headlock, and he knocked that man out, and he cracked that man's head open when he fell to the ground, and it was not good. You cannot let your baby faces choke people out. You cannot let your baby faces get into fights. Your baby faces are supposed to be clean cut. Yeah, your baby face is supposed to be clean cut, supposed to be the hero that the kids can enjoy, that moms and dads want their little boys to be like. So Grayson Waller did what he had to do, and I did exactly what he had to do. It was perfect.
Okay, so you say it like that, but then it's like you didn't break kayfabe. You realize that Waller and Knight, one's face and one's a heel, and they're sitting next to each other on the talk show.
Oh no, I'm not saying they didn't break kayfabe. They broke kayfabe as soon as they arrived.
Okay, well, that's my point. They're gonna break kayfabe no matter what. He didn't.
So you wanted to put him through a table?
Up. No, LA Knight didn't stand up for
he
wrestling.
He didn't need to stand up. Yes, he did. He did what he needed to do.
The point was that Waller got mad was because they were making fun of because wrestling's fake.
I know why. I know why Waller got mad.
So LA Knight just chilling there doing nothing, not defending wrestling, not defending anything, just made him look like a punk.
No, he did his job.
Waller. Waller needs to be champion, not LA Knight. He never gonna be champion. Thank God.
Both of them did exactly what they were supposed to do. Both did what they were supposed to do. And when I say protecting kayfabe, I mean the wrestling industry writ large. I don't mean the heel face dynamic.
I get what you're saying. LA Knight. Trash.
Why don't you like him?
Well, that's a personal problem. That the video doesn't.
We'll talk about that next week with the Royal Rumble show. But give me the short answer.
Who needs to be on the show? You know who needed to be interviewed?
Jinder Mahal.
You,
I
Joe
said
you
and
bring,
reach out.
Ginger.
You guys reach
you
him out.
bring Ginger.
I'm not reach out. You reach him out. You text him.
Don't
He
hinder
delete.
Ginger.
Well, for your information, he doesn't even have X anymore. He deleted
Does
it
he got
after
rid of
that
it
whole.
again?
He got rid of it again. Trust me,
He
I
got
was
rid of
gonna
it
try
again.
and get
Does,
professional
or
Ginger
is he
Mahal.
on X? Is he on
He is on
Instagram?
Instagram. He is.
Well, hit him up on
Probably.
Instagram then.
I will. I'm gonna
I
try
have
to
a
get him
piece.
on
I am
I have a
open to
piece
it,
coming
and I will
out.
say to him, I don't like you.
I have a piece coming out about
And I
Jinder
will
Mahal.
say that. I really will say that too.
I have a piece coming out on Jinder Mahal. Hopefully this week. Last word on sports. Give it a read.
Definitely.
Matt won't like it as much as everybody else, but it's time we give Jinder Mahal the run he deserves heading into WrestleMania.
They was like this Ginger Mahal, like beginning. We go even back like last year. He was a nobody, like barely on, always losing. He probably won one match that whole year.
He did
He
not.
does. He goes into 2024, does the thing with The Rock, then goes after the heavyweight title, and now you can honestly put him now into like the intercontinental level. Like he's second tier.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
the
gonna be
one.
honest with you. That match, him and Seth, and Matt's gonna hate this. It was good. It was a good match. I enjoyed watching it. And that 1 week, just 1 week of build with an assist from Tony Khan made
Exactly.
me low-key believe. I was like, obviously Seth's gonna win. Obviously Seth's gonna win. But what if he doesn't? What if Jinder does win? Even if it's just for a cash-in to happen. What if Jinder does win? I truthfully thought that they might give the title to Mahal. Like it just like not real. Obviously, I knew, but just a tiny bit of me was like, "What if they do?"
They did
perfect.
that he beat Randy Orton for a title, but
that was a little different.
jeez, well,
that was a bad call. But this one,
as an announcement, we are previewing the Royal Rumble and releasing that on Thursday, so we could we can have all our grievances there regarding wrestling. But
yes,
no funny story there. And LA Knight will be your future champion, and he's one of the best damn people on TV. Excuse me. But moving on, let's talk about a very, very rare politics story for this show. And, we're in an election year. It's inevitable to talk about politics in an election year. And especially to do our due diligence to talk about the crazy stories in our world, we are going to do that here for our show. And it was announced today, January 18th, that Donald Trump Jr. said he would love to see Tucker Carlson serve as his father's running mate and that he is a contender. All right, let's break this down, right? 45th president of the United. And by the way, I want to make it clear right now, and I'll put this in the clip. I'm not endorsing Trump. I'm not endorsing any candidate. So I'll make that clear. But you're telling me that these two one's a former television host, one's a current. Yeah, well, actually, they're both former TV hosts. One's still broadcasting on X, bringing in genuine idiots to make content with, like people saying they slept with the president and stuff. And you're telling me he's going to team up with this guy who has a huge platform and might have some momentum. And if you saw the Iowa caucuses this past weekend, there's a good chance Donald Trump will be a Republican nomination again. And you're telling me that he's going to pick Tucker Carlson to be the vice president of the United States. And with the momentum they have, they can seriously be the team that runs the United States of America. And it'll be the second time for this person pulling off the Grover Cleveland. So for these duos from, FDR and Truman to Lincoln and who's Lincoln's VP? Sorry.
Originally?
Yeah.
Well, the second VP was Andrew Johnson.
So we'll go with it didn't work out. Okay, bad example. Let's talk name any of the great president and VP duos. Ryan, can you name a few for us?
Well, I mean JFK and LBJ, that was a pretty big one.
Mm-hmm.
And that one became very consequential. Well, you got Nixon
Washington and Adams.
Yeah, you got Nixon, Spiro Agnew, the two most corrupt. politicians possibly ever. They both ended up getting indicted for separate issues, which is wild to think about. Another consequence. I mean, you got the what's it called? Reagan and Bush, and Bush and Quayle. Those were both
Clinton and Gore and all that. The list goes on. And there's a good chance that these two could be your leaders of the free world. And you know what? For all you people who complain about politics, for all you people in Washington, and I genuinely have respect in the sense that you worked hard to make a goal possible to get the food on the table for you and your family, and you did what you had to do to have a career, to be a politician. Kudos to anybody who has that grind. But we're in a place where we are seriously considering these two former hosts to be the two most important people in the United States, arguably the world. And you're all telling me you hate politics, this, that, and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it's up to you to vote for better leaders if you don't like it. So they're doing what they have to do. So don't complain about it if it actually becomes a reality, because it happened once with just Trump. It can happen again. So it's just hilarious. This is what we're going to. My problem here is, to wrap it up, is people complain about how this country is run, yet you are the people who can vote for other leaders, men and women, to represent you. So I understand why you're upset that these two are in the lead when you yourself can vote for other people. And if you want to talk about the electoral colleges, and if you want to talk about this, and your vote matters, it's your civic duty. So don't complain if these two hosts are going to run to be your president. You could have done something about it during the primaries, and you didn't. So what are you going to do?
Two things. Two things real quick. One, you are putting a lot of stock in what Donald Trump Jr. says for this. I mean, Donald Trump Sr. is going to be the Republican nominee. I would pretty much confirm that. But he likes to be the star. I don't know that he would want someone who's as famous as him as his running mate. I think that he would actually find that to be annoying, because people would talk to Tucker more, and Tucker would say outlandish things. And I think that, Trump kind of wants someone who will follow his lead. And I don't know that you have that with Tucker Carlson. So I think there's definitely a world in which they don't do this, right? I just wanted to throw that out there for everyone who's having a panic attack upon hearing this story, as I did. There's a world in which Trump, even if he is the nominee, doesn't pick Tucker. And number two, what do you think, Matt? You've got two co-hosts. So the year is 20-something, 40-something, whatever. You're the nominee for president of the United States, and you have to pick your former host to be your running mate. Who are you picking? Me or Jose?
I'm a lot of fun.
Jose, pitch yourself quick.
Oh, I can't even pitch myself. He knows not to vote for me, because we're gonna get impeached in 2 seconds. He already knows.
Come on, Matt. You got to pick.
All right, my honest answer here
and why?
is,
and why? You have to say why.
You always have to support. You always have to surround a room with yourself with people who are smarter than you. And Ryan, you're a brilliant guy, so I pick you as my running mate, because anything I can't figure out, I'll ask for your genuine advice. That's why I pick you. No offense, Jose. It's better if we just hang out and party and podcast together.
Yes,
we'll find a spot for Jose. Chief of staff.
Matt already knows. He's like, "What do you think we're gonna do with this conflict?" And I'm just gonna be like, "Let's just bomb him. Let's just call it a day."
Jose will look for the most attractive person and make the decision based off of that.
Let's make fun of the media now.
Sure.
Let's now make fun of the sports media. Jason Kelce, 6-time All-Pro, now 7-time All-Pro center. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. It was reported after his team, the Philadelphia Eagles, lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card round this past weekend, that it was reported by ESPN that he told teammates that I'm retiring. Then Jason Kelce goes on his own podcast and says, "That's not true. My mind hasn't been made up yet. Still figuring it out." So at this moment, Jason Kelce isn't retiring. I think he will. He was allegedly about to retire last year, and then the GM, Howard Ackerman, asked him to stay, and he did. He's part of one of the most embarrassing Philadelphia Eagles seasons ever. It's awesome, starting at 10-1, ending your season 11-6, and then getting routed by the Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield, who had bum ankles. Haha, that's what you get, Philly. But the only Philadelphia Eagle I will ever respect is Jason Kelce. I think he's a stand-up guy. His resume speaks for himself. He has his ring. He's the sexiest man alive for those of the bigger category, men who don't look like a supermodel, and he represents those people well. And he just seems like a great guy that you hope your son is like. But it's crazy how the media really reported that he's retiring and it hasn't been confirmed yet. And this happens in sports media all the time. Just the fake stuff that insiders give. It's a joke. That's why you can only trust the main guy, the main big newsbreakers, especially even though I make it fun of ESPN, they do work for ESPN. But if these guys say it's happening, it's probably true. With Schefter in football, Adrian Wojnarowski or Shams in basketball, Jeff Passan in baseball, Ari in MMA. So you could actually trust that that's true. Everybody else, no offense, I can't really take you seriously, except with the exception like Ian Rappaport. He's good. Or Adrian Marchand, even though he's more local for New York sports, I think he's spot on. But everyone else, like this story proves how you can't trust any of these sports insiders until the people I mentioned actually break it.
Yeah, I think I'll just speak to this a little bit because I have a little bit of experience, although not in sports. It's sports adjacent with the wrestling stuff, but it's on the individual journalists, and that's something that I think we don't like. It's easy to paint broad brushes about this group or that group. Like the major ones are good, the smaller ones are bad. But like I don't write for Forbes. They do have wrestling. I just don't write for them. You know what I mean? I don't write wrestling for Sports Illustrated, which also has a pretty good wrestling coverage. Like I write for smaller groups. But when Bray Wyatt, right, when all that went down, I did the new breaking news for that one. Which I don't typically do breaking news, but I wanted to in that case because of how much Bray as a performer meant to me. And so I did it, and all these other places on YouTube and on social were breaking these stories about at the same time, like right away, again, because they wanted to be first. Again, it was breaking news. I was writing a breaking news piece about all this information, and I was looking and I checked his dad's socials, I checked his wife and girlfriend, I checked Bo Dallas, I checked all of these things, and no one was saying these things. WWE wasn't saying these things, Triple H wasn't saying these things. So I had to go to my editor and I had to be like, I don't feel comfortable saying what everyone else is saying because it's not confirmed.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I had a great team, and they agreed with me 100%. They said, yeah, we're not going to say something that we can't confirm. Honestly, if it's true, then it's true, and we can talk about it later. But we're not going to, put a family through that by just putting whatever we think is right because someone said something
Source
on another
is
site.
Joe Rabbit 2475.
Right. So like I get it. It's easy to be like the big ones are the ones that are good, but I think the smaller news sites can do good. They just try to be first because that's how they're going to make their money. And so they don't need to be good. They just want fast in a lot of cases, but that's not all of them. And I think folks online need to reward good over fast by sharing the good stuff, sharing the stuff that's been written well and reflects reality, and not sharing the first thing they see on a subject on their timeline. So
I'm gonna go the other way.
okay.
I think Jason Kelce did say something. I think
He
to his
probably
teammates.
did. Yeah,
He probably did. And I think the only reason why he said that he's undecisive and whatever, he doesn't want to be taught. He doesn't want to tolerate. He just got his butt whooped. Like the last thing you want to talk about now, what are you going to do now? And the pressure is like, well, I never made that decision. I never said anything, and just wants his space. But I do think
That
he
might be
said that,
true.
and I
I won't
think
lie.
I mean,
But
yeah, that
me
might be
too.
true, but the thing with it is, if it was true, you really, I mean, for something like that, you kind of need a named source.
exactly.
And if you don't have a
Well,
named source, then you're basically just asking for this to happen. You're asking for the subject to be like, that's not true. Because now it becomes he said and he's the subject versus nothing. You got nothing to back you up because you don't name your source. So I would say that a story like that, if you can't run it with a named source, then it's not worth running because you're just going to invite this to happen. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
also,
Do
I also think he's waiting to save it for his podcast. Like his podcast blew up.
well, yeah, and I do think there's probably some rationale to he wants to wait to
Right.
see how the Chiefs do.
That
He
as
doesn't
well,
want this postseason to be about him if his brother is making a
brother.
deep
Right.
playoff run. So I could see
which they
a
won't.
hundred reasons. No, I
But
don't think
that's
they
just
will.
me being a
I think the Bills could beat them this week, right? This weekend.
yes,
Oh, Bill's
please.
definitely winning this week.
I don't know about definitely, but I think the Bills have a good shot. Yeah.
Oh, come on, they're in Buffalo.
What does that
They're
mean?
winning. They're winning. Them
Exactly.
receivers ain't catching no balls.
I watched Bailey Zappi throw like 3 touchdowns in in Buffalo, so I'm not at all saying you can't lose in Buffalo, but I do think that the Buffalo Bills will win. All I'm saying is that if you can't have a named source for something like that, if you can't find a named source, then hold it. You know, we'd all be better in general, all news, but certainly sports news, because it's a much bigger problem in sports and entertainment than it is in traditional news. Hold a story. You know what I mean? It's not gonna hurt you to hold it for a little bit. Um, because the more wrong things pile up on the same group of people, the less people will listen to that group of people, and it drives them to either be better or get out. And I think that that's the way to be. So
I think you make some valid points with that, Ryan, and good stuff there. So why don't we now do a brand new segment? It's called What a Joke, where Jose, Ryan, and myself bring up a story, whether it's from now or in the past, that we just think is a joke. And I'll start it off with Jennifer Lopez's This Is Me Now, which is, I guess, some short film being released by Amazon Prime that is tying to her new album coming out in February, This Is Me Now. And that trailer looked so baffling awful that I really hope it comes out that it is a joke. Nothing makes sense. It's corny. It's hilarious. Maybe I'm taking it a little too seriously, but I mean, what even is this? I guess a movie about a sex addict in a nuclear post-apocalyptic world with corny lines and intense dancing. Like, what cinematic
yeah.
experience? I mean, what is this? This is
Well,
people just flexing how much money
didn't
they have. With
Beyonce do
the
something like this?
well, there's Lemonade, but that was
Yeah.
serious. It was a cinematic story with a lot to say. This is just a parody with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
What?
Yeah, the cast is wild. Also, Ben Affleck, who, if this is a true story about J Lo's misfortunes in love, would be what, like, a main character, right?
Yeah.
He's definitely a part of those misfortunes in love. I know they're together now, but so yeah, I thought it was strange. Obviously, I want to hear it. I want to hear it with, like, together. I don't want to base it off a trailer, whether or not I think it's good or bad, but it's weird. I'll give you that. Doesn't make a lot of sense as a trailer. So I guess we'll have to see if the actual video, like the actual movie, ties in everything a little bit more neatly for us. Um, but I'm not confident that it will, based on what I saw.
Jennifer Lopez, she is a joke.
joke.
She have last 3 movies. Have you seen them?
She's never
No.
been with the exception of Selena. She's never been in a good movie. She is a horrendous actor.
Oh, you need to stop that.
Tell me
She did
what.
so good.
Hot take.
Tell me what's
Enough.
she be good in? I heard Hustler's good, but
Hustler's
Jiggly
good. Enough. No, enough. Where
enough.
she got abused and she ran away, and her crazy husband comes after her, finds her, and has beat the crap out of him.
That's not
Like
good.
well, it was good for its time.
No, I'm saying like that's literally not good.
I think what happened is not good.
What happened? Like when she wins it, so at least it had a happy ending.
Which in the trailer for this, she acknowledges not all stories have a happy ending.
Trying to think what else was she good in. There's gotta be
I like her as a musician. I would say. I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I'll be honest.
You need to stop.
I thought she had. Well, you think I think she's a bad actor. You think she's a good actor. I think she's a great musician. You think she's a bad musician.
She sucks as a musician. She had to share the Super Bowl. She had to share with Shakira. She couldn't even get her own.
I don't think it was sharing. I think it was featuring.
It's
Shakira.
sharing. No. It's sharing because they split. She went one song, the other one went on the other, and then they came together at the end.
I don't know. I actually I like Shakira a lot more personally, but I'm not like a huge this is definitely not my realm. Jennifer Lopez is not my era of music or movies, to be honest with you. So I don't have a ton to say other than I think from the movies I have seen and the music I have heard, she's better at the music to me than the movies. But that's again,
well, I guess she
limited knowledge on both fronts. So
can I ask you a question?
I gotta watch more Jennifer Lopez movies.
Can I ask you a question? How many Jennifer Lopez CDs do you own?
I don't own any CDs of any kind.
Did you own DVDs?
Not really.
How many Jennifer Lopez movies you probably seen, and how many Jennifer Lopez albums have you listened to?
I have probably, this is true, listened to 4 Jennifer Lopez songs at most, and I've seen probably 2 or 3 Jennifer Lopez movies, and one of those was Selena. So there you go.
My God.
So I admitted outright for the comments yell at me like they did about not mentioning Friday, as if I didn't know Cat Williams was in that movie. But I just I've not seen a lot of Jennifer Lopez in anything. I know very little about Jennifer Lopez as a performer, other than she's very famous.
Did you see Money Train?
Money Train?
Yes.
No. There's a Money Plane.
She's naked in Money Train. You better get in there and watch it at least once. How can you be a movie critic? Money Train.
I want you to come on the Oscars episode and say that.
Oh my God.
I want to know how many of the people who are voting for the Oscars have seen Money Train. Because if they haven't, their opinion's invalid.
Exactly.
Ryan, tell us what you thought was a joke. What's a joke? Right. What a joke for you.
So what a joke for me. This is both an old and new story. What a joke for me is the Vallejo, California Police Department. Have you guys seen the new documentary on Netflix called American Nightmare? I just watched it before coming on here today, and I actually changed what I was going to talk about.
No,
not the American Nightmare. American Nightmare is a different thing.
Was the Vallejo? Was that where one of the places Zodiac Killer was at?
Maybe. This story, though, is not about that. This story is about the Gone Girl hoax case, in which in 2015, there was a case that was basically dismissed by the police department because they believed that the victim of this case was recreating or was copycatting the movie Gone Girl, which had come out the year before.
God.
But then a different police department in the state caught the person who did it. And all of the evidence was there, all lined up. And it turns out that the police department basically knew all of this. Not to mention this other police department was working constantly to try and tell the first police department, the Vallejo Police Department, that we think we have your perpetrator, we think you're going in the wrong direction with this case. Like, come look at our evidence. And then finally, they have the FBI look at the evidence to back them up and say, yeah, we think you're right. Again, total joke of police work. They ruined a person's life. They ruined a couple's life. Truthfully, they ruined these people's lives. Settled out of court in 2018 for 2.5 million. I'm glad this documentary came out. I'm glad these people got paid, but this documentary needs to come out because they never went to court, and they should have, because everything they did was wrong. They were trying to re-victimize a woman who had been already victim to a horrible thing, and her husband. It was horrible stuff, and they did it seemingly for no reason, because they were still prosecuting the case. It's not like they were.
Sounds like there was straight up laziness.
It wasn't even like, oh, well, if we don't prosecute this case, if we just call it a wash or whatever, then we can move on. They were just prosecuting the wrong people. They were prosecuting the victim, and by calling it a hoax, instead of looking for the person who did the crime that the victim alleged. And so it was, again, all horrible stuff. Watch the documentary. American Nightmare on Netflix just came out this week. Very good. But that's my joke. The Vallejo Police Department are a joke, and they may have gotten out of court in 2018, but I'm glad that this movie has come out to put them back into the court of public opinion so the rest of the world can see how big a joke they are.
This also comes off the Uvalde case with them now. It's getting acknowledged with that massacre.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to go into all cops.
I'm not saying all cops. Yeah. I'm just saying that it's sad that there's situations in law enforcement.
Absolutely.
Of them not doing their job. Simple
but
as
if
that.
If you want to see a specific situation, American Nightmare on Netflix. Great documentary. I just watched it, and God, what a joke.
Not American Nightmare on the Peacock.
Yes, no, that's a different. The American Nightmare on Peacock is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Jinder Mahal at WrestleMania 40.
There we go.
We have to make room for The Rock to wrestle gas for 15 minutes, and eat a Samoan spike and 2 spears, get pinned by his cousin, and disappear to make Black Adam 2.
There you go. What's not happening? Is it my turn?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
What's the segment called again? Did you say it correctly?
What a joke.
What a joke. You know what a joke is?
What?
Tony Khan is a what a joke. Right?
What'd he do?
How the hell he talks crap on that and made a low-level nobody a jobber and made him into a superstar. And he can't even produce 1 star on his own show. So instead, the big dummy that he is, just like, let me blow this dude up. And now he got me waiting patiently on WWE shop for a Jinder Mahal shirt. So he a joke.
Yeah, I'll say Tony Khan is Booker of the Year. If we count the fact that he turned Jinder Mahal into a breakout star within the first month of 2024. What's crazy is, did you guys watch Hook vs. Mojo? Okay, I did too.
I didn't.
Good match. I mean, Hook is small and young, and
he wasn't ready.
That hurts his look. It's very hard to take him seriously as the challenger to Samoa Joe for the world title. But the match was well done, and I think they played into how. Well, they didn't. They should have played into how small Hook was a little bit more than they did. But other than that, I thought it was really good. But here's the thing: Hook's gonna go away now. Like, Hook had his match, and now he's done. This didn't do anything for Hook. This did more for Jinder Mahal than it did for Hook. And that's the problem with Tony Khan's whole plan, is it made the wrong person famous. He should have been talking about Hook, not Jinder. Why was Jinder's name in your mouth? You can still criticize WWE without ever mentioning Jinder. You just literally say, in AEW, you have to earn your title shot. That's it. That's the only time you mention WWE, and you don't even mention it by name. You just say, in AEW, you have to earn your title shot. Hook is 21-1 since winning the FTW title, I think, whatever that record was. He's put in the work. He's a hot young prospect, and he's going to show the world that he is ready for Samoa Joe. And then that becomes the story that everyone's talking about. Is Hook ready for Samoa Joe? This young kid is on a hot streak, but he's still young. He's still green. Does he have what it takes? That's your whole story. But by going into, and then the other show, you can lose for a year and get a title shot. Now it becomes the tribal AEW, WWE nonsense that we get all the time. And it sent Jinder to the moon. It just literally, I don't know how you fumble that hard. And then everyone being like, oh, wow, fans are so soft for saying this was a dumb tweet, like, or a bad tweet. What about the Attitude Era? Attitude Era, they were equal. WCW was beating WWE, and then WWE was beating WCW. They were on equal footing. WCW didn't need to build more stars. They had plenty, as did WWE. AEW's got no stars, not like WWE has. And that's just facts. Look at the numbers. Look at their draw. They sell less tickets. They have less viewers, period. There's no way around that fact. And so I like AEW. I like some of the superstars on AEW quite a bit. Hook being one of them, by the way. But
Do you really like him?
I do really like Hook. I think, again, he's 22 years old, not even. Like, he needs more. He needs to do more. I know, Hook needs to do, genuinely, and I know that he can't right now. He needs to get a message over to William Regal, who I'm sure he knows from when Regal was on there. And Regal needs to start backstage talking. Taz and Regal need to work something out since they can't tamper because Tony Khan is a child. And when Hook is ready, he needs to head over to NXT for a good long while. And I think if he does that, they can package that into something really, really good. But on AEW, holding his dad's make-believe title, it's just never going to be, he's never going to be at the level he needs to be to ever hold a world title. I shouldn't say never, things can change, but I think that they've done a bad job of making him look like a world champion. Part of that, again, just he's too young, but the other part is the way that they've booked him. And I think NXT could really fix that personally.
Well, hopefully, I could be a rich person just to play around and
with your own wrestling company. What would the first thing you would do? You have your own wrestling company.
If he's smart, he'll sign Jinder Mahal.
I don't know.
Is that your first? Is that your first signing? Is that your inaugural champion, Matt?
I
would just first thing I do is just book Madison Square Garden just to say I did it with a wrestling show. And whoever pulls up, great.
Is this to be Matt in a ring? MSG, no one's there.
Hey, fine by me. I like that idea. Now let's do another new segment. What do you think about? I'm simply going to ask you guys what you think about this or that. Guys, what do you think about Matt Rife?
Played out would be the first thing that comes to my mind. I think that his window of big fan. I mean, again, saying this, I'm certainly not at the same level as Matt Rife, but I think his big window of fame closed probably quicker than he thought. I always hate when everybody decides to jump to the alt-right to try and stay relevant, which he seems to be doing now. But I do. It's true. Aaron Rodgers is doing it. Matt Rife is doing it. A lot of people are doing it. At least partially. Not everyone's doing it to the same degree. Anyway, I think it's played out. I think it's surprising how quickly it played out. I don't know why it's played out. Like, I don't know what he did.
And this is reaction to the stand-up special and making fun of special needs.
I guess I didn't think that would do that, to be honest with you.
With the link to a special needs helmet.
Yeah, I didn't think. I mean, the
link
upset
people like that with.
Yeah, I thought that was a bad joke.
Yeah,
certainly when he added the helmet link, but like I didn't think that this would torpedo his career, and it seems like it might have. But even in his stand-up, like that stand-up, he was kind of combative to people. Didn't that mean ends with the whole like, but I'm only good at crowd work and the mic drop, right? And like
I was about to say, he's pretty good at crowd work, but
he's very good at crowd work, by the way. He's very good. But like that was how he ended the show, like kind of dismissing the people who saying that he's good at crowd work or only good at crowd work. I'm like, he had his chip on his shoulder before that joke got him into, deep waters. So I don't really know what's going on there, but yeah, it definitely seems to be having an impact. I don't know if it'll I don't know if it'll ruin his career or whatever. But it definitely seems to have had an impact. And I do think that he's probably not going to be as famous as he could have been because of the more recent controversies and the way he's handled them.
Man, I've never seen a stand-up comedian be
I
perceived like a
totally
rock
disagree.
star in looks. But Jose, respond to Ryan.
Ryan, I think you're crazy. I think he has a crazy amount of tour dates. He just announced a fifth one in Connecticut and sold that bad boy out a fifth day in a row.
No, so I'm not saying, again, I don't think he's going to be broke and destitute, but I was thinking truthfully, when I saw Matt Rife when he released his first independent stand up on YouTube. He did
Hmm.
an entirely independent stand up show. It was very good in my opinion. And I thought after he blew up after that, like we were going to be looking at like movies. We were going to be looking at like a lot. I was thinking Kevin Hart.
Oh, you damn! You were
Kevin
thinking
Hart.
that high.
Yes, genuinely, I was thinking like Kevin Hart. And I don't think that's the trajectory he's currently on. Maybe I was just wrong, and so my opinion is based on my own faulty, ability to view talent. That's possible. But if I
Right.
was right, and then that means that something shifted and he's no longer on the trajectory, which is why I would say played out would be like my top line description of Matt Rife.
I only saw him going to the level I was doing stadium shows, and that's about it. Like arena
Like,
shows. I can't
yeah,
see him doing like Kevin Hart numbers, like selling out Philadelphia and
I really did think he could. I really thought we could be seeing TV shows, movies,
no.
The Kevin Hart. I really did,
He's
truthfully.
amazing. You guys are right. He's amazing in crowd work. So he's really great in
Well, yeah,
low
when he can
number
talk to
buildings.
people.
When
Yeah.
right. I mean, his stand up was trash. Like
Well,
that.
the first one I thought was good.
Oh,
The
the
indie
one
one I
in
thought was good.
Netflix was trash. If it doesn't have him talking with the crowd, I mean, I think he's trash. But I get why people want to go there. You're going there for that moment, like for after where he's just talking to everybody and just making fun of everybody, and that's what you're really going there for.
Mm. Again, maybe my expectations were too high after that first special, but the YouTube special. But
No,
I really did. That was truthfully where I thought it was going. So to see where I think it's going now, I think there's a
no,
big dip.
oh yeah,
Interesting. What do you guys think about people who are mad at being in long lines at a store? What do you think about when people are mad in being in a long line that they chose to be in? Whether it is to wait for a restaurant, wait at the grocery store, wait at the clothing store, wait at an amusement park. Why are people upset about long lines that they choose to be in?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
they're dumb
well, I
and
mean, I can see why it would be annoying.
impatient and selfish and annoying.
I can see why being in a line would not be your favorite activity of the day, but I guess I don't know what that means. If you're saying, can people, is it bad that
Like,
people
why
get
don't
mad?
people like
No.
I'm going to I'm going to the grocery store
Mm-hmm.
on a Sunday
Right.
and you're upset that the line is long. Like, what do
And
you
how do
think?
they act? And how do they act?
They're mad. They're upset. They want to call the police. So
Okay.
they're irritated.
Yeah.
exactly.
So if they're acting like that, want to call the police and verbally irritated, that's, yeah, what are you doing? Just sit in line like an adult. If you're asking me, can people be annoyed that they're in a long line? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course, but it's
Like,
why
duh.
why don't you? And of course, I've been upset, but it's amazing to me how many people get so frustrated for a line that they should expect to be long. We are busy people. We have things to do. You can be irritated, but don't go all Karen mode and start complaining because
Well,
you
right.
chose
Yeah.
to be in that line.
Yeah, if you start yelling at people or saying like hurry up, like all that stuff, yeah, that's you just being a jerk. But I'm not gonna be like the physical response of being like, ugh, I have to sit in this line. Like, yeah, you do. And if it ends there and you just sit there and then you pay for your stuff and leave, then you're fine. As long as you don't go crazy on people because of a long line, I don't think it's bad to be upset. But I see what you're saying. Like people who respond badly to it, yeah, that's dumb.
The first thing that comes in my mind is they're just cheap as hell.
Yeah,
What do you mean
Like
cheap?
definitely.
I could pay mine if I didn't want to wait in that line. I know it's a freaking Sunday at a Stop and Shop or a ShopRite, and I know or like the day before a holiday. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Ryan, you want to do me a favor?" And he's like, "What, Jose? Can you go to the grocery store? Here's $50, or here's $20. Can you do that for me? I need
Or,
eggs
or
and
have
bread."
some hot, or have some hot, or have some, like a. Oh, I'm taking my thought. Or you just hire somebody, or you just do
Or like
Uber Eats or
Instacart.
Yeah,
Instacart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Instacart,
like
whatever. I get what
I
you're
don't got
saying.
time for that.
And this is a reaction because I'm at a store, at a bargain store. So, things are, there's different people of various classes going to the store, right?
Sure.
And they're waiting in line at customer service the week after Christmas for a return, right?
Which is going to be massive.
Exactly. So seeing the rolled eyes, the frustration, as if they didn't expect this to happen, well, what are you supposed to think? And then there's also another situation. This waiting in line, okay, person smells like weed, fine. People smell. What can I say? Stenches happen. But then
That's
you have
not
this
bad. I mean,
Karen.
that's not a bad thing though.
No, I'm getting to it, but I know you're right. It's not a
Oh,
bad
okay.
thing. So you have this Karen go like, "Oh man, why are they letting these people in?" And
Yeah,
you
see,
know
that's
what a
not.
Karen would be upset about, a stereotypical Karen in this category of Karens being upset and seeing a person who's not the same skin tone as a Karen, if you know what I'm getting at. And the person did the hilarious thing. They turned around, they said, "We can return things just like you." And she was put in her place. She deserved it.
Yeah. Even if someone smells genuinely and you find them smelly, first of all, like the overgeneralization is gross. Second of all, don't say anything because that's not going to change the situation. Not going to make the person in front of you smell less of weed. I'll say this though, I will push back slightly on the rolled eyes. If someone rolls their eyes in a long line, whatever. If that's the worst they do, if they roll their eyes and then just go on their phone and wait for the line, let them have that little moment of frustration. I don't see that as a problem. Now, if they tell the person in front of them that they smell and they shouldn't be allowed in the store, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's what she was
Right.
Big
implying
problem.
pretty much.
Right? If someone rolls their eyes at you,
Well, I don't think they're rolling it at anyone if they're in a long line.
they're long in line, they see you in front of them, and if I'm you in front of me, Riot, and I roll my eyes, it's because you were in front of me. That's why I roll it.
I
And
You
guess
let's
could
I
be
have
real,
just
this
don't care about
Karen was
that.
probably racist because,
Well, is this the same person? The rolled eyes is the same person as
yeah,
the. Well, I mean, then
back.
the complainer too.
definitely racist because she
Exactly.
said out loud a racist thing.
Yeah,
So I mean, not
I
probably,
hope
exactly.
definitely, she said something racist. So we could confirm it right now.
And why is she also upset you were going to be in line? Like, use your head, Karen. I know generalizations we shouldn't make it, but that was as Karen as it got.
right.
There you go.
Next time, right? I mean, Matt, you stick that finger right up. You stick it right in the ear.
Well, it sounded like the person
Right in the
defended
air,
themselves
yes.
nicely. So
Exactly. And I'm glad they were embarrassed and people looked at them in judgment.
as they should.
Mm-hmm.
My last one, and then one quick story to finish it off. What do you guys think about when you eat fast food and you just feel so genuinely awful with the processed ingredients and the meats and like it's crazy. It's hilarious. Listen, I understand with fast food, especially if you are on an extremely tight budget, that that's how they get you. They're charging you. You are what you eat. So if you eat poorly, you will feel poorly. But this is just so funny, and I feel like these mega fast food corporations, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, all of them, don't you think they have the wherewithal to get better ingredients? Like can McDonald's make a burger per se to not make you feel so off? And I know the answer to that is, well, probably they're just doing what's best for business and get the lowest quality meat they can. That's approved by the FDA. But wouldn't it be nice if a fast food place actually was like, didn't make you feel so horrible?
Jose, you first.
There is any like Shake Shack. Don't they got like a portobello mushroom burger or whatever you can take something healthy? I don't eat fast food like that, like how I used to.
Yeah. Well, I don't think
So
any of us do because it makes us feel so bad.
Exactly. I feel like after 27, it was just like, why? I'm literally paying for pain for
I'll say
a
this,
5-second satisfaction.
So I'll say this. My pushback on this is if they did that, Matt, it wouldn't be fast food. Truthfully, I don't. You said, can they do it better? I think obviously you've gone to restaurants that do it better. You could get a cheeseburger and fries at almost any restaurant ever, and it doesn't make you feel the way that a McDonald's cheeseburger and fry makes you feel, or Burger King, Wendy's, whatever. But they can't do it as fast, and I think everyone knows that. So if they got all the stuff, they would just be a restaurant.
McDonald's
and no one
restaurant.
no one will go to that. So to answer your question, no, I don't think they can do better. I think that their business model requires them to put out the fastest product possible. And so this is what you get. How do you cook a burger faster than anyone else? It's greasy and it makes you feel horrible when you finish eating it. That's just how it has to be.
don't American don't McDonald's own a restaurant chains?
I'm sure they do, but I'd
I
say
thought
that
American Steakhouse is one of them.
McDonald's
it might
owns
be.
American Steakhouse. I have no idea. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't
I
have
think I
that
think
info,
that,
but
that's what I heard.
either way, the McDonald's like flagship, their business model requires that fast, cheap food. That's what it requires.
Does McDonald's own Chipotle? I'm about to see. McDonald's does not own Chipotle.
No, it doesn't.
Well, they became a major investor.
They did, yeah.
That's ironic. So you're telling me
I
they
know.
invested in their own competition?
It's not their competition if they're an investor because they get a
true, but
return
like,
on their investment. So now it's just
Does-
an investment.
does
If
No,
Chipotle
McDonald's
does well,
own
so does
I agree. I
McDonald's.
think that is true because I think don't Pizza Hut, Burger King, and Taco Bell and KFC are all together.
They might be, isn't there like Yums or something?
Yes, that's correct. And they only have
Yeah.
Pepsi products. I think it's
Yums.
Pepsi owns on them.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Yeah,
America,
those are for sure connected, I believe.
America
Yes, that's why they.
loves American Steakhouse.
Remember that? Yeah.
I can't find a quick search of them on American Steakhouse, but
Either
we'll
way,
say maybe
they may own other.
Exactly.
They definitely own other stuff, so they might be American Steakhouse.
So let us do our final story. It's actually a continuation from last week. Stephen A. Smith versus Jason Whitlock, which seems so long ago at this point, right?
I know so much has happened.
So we dropped the story literally 20 minutes before it happened. I didn't get the chance to actually see the soundbite, so I only could read it. But when you actually see what Stephen A. said about Jason Whitlock, and maybe this doesn't get as much traction because we were already, worn out from Rogers and Kimmel, Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp. So much going on with these major stories and major people. And Stephen A. and Jason Whitlock's, it seems like Stephen A. pretty much buried Jason Whitlock. And Jason Whitlock's, his first reaction, it was just a book review, bro. It was just a book review, bro. But can we just say how we have this soundbite forever? And I will swear on this one, it's very end, so I don't think you'll worry about the flag. But he literally says, and we have this forever, talking about how, roasting him, like with some of the most horrible things I've ever seen anyone say, from no pallbearers at his wedding, worse than a white supremacist, hold on to your soul tightly if you're near this guy. Like, it was brutal. And then we have him say, remember when you tried something like, remember you tried to beg for my forgiveness, you bitch, you fat piece of shit. We have that forever, Stephen A. saying that.
That's it.
Stephen is ruthless, boy.
I mean, I think I don't know. We talked about this last week. it is interesting that some of what Jason Whitlock said is objectively true. Stephen A. does seem to have lied about his college basketball career, right? I think we can all agree that he said two different things at two different times about that. But I don't know. I'm of the point where I think Stephen A had a right to defend himself and to clear the air and speak his mind as all people do. But man, you want to talk about overboard? We found overboard. This was like Jason Whitlock is not on Stephen A's level, not even close. I think that'd be like if Stephen A heard this and started, making fun of my forehead or something. Like,
you bitch.
you're right. It's just it's punching a man that's already way far down compared to you.
That's what
And
Shannon Sharp said. Why are you sharing his audience with him?
yeah, and like that's my thing. Is just there was it's seemingly like it was an overreaction to such a point that I hate to say it, but Whitlock might have hit a nerve.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
like
He got under his
maybe
skin.
some of what Stephen A. said is close, or maybe some of what Whitlock said about Stephen A. rather is closer to the truth than people realize. Because Stephen A. made it his mission to make sure that no one listens to Jason Whitlock say anything ever again. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, we talked about Kimmel and Rogers. What Rogers said about Kimmel is significantly worse than what Whitlock said about Stephen A. And even Kimmel let that thing slide by comparison. Like, Kimmel was mad and made it very clear, but it was only one episode, and then everybody moved on. Like, Stephen A went on multiple platforms. He went on an entire rant that I like way longer than the Rogers or Kimmel segments. So just truthfully, that the fact that he got so mad has got to mean something. And I'm worried that it means that maybe, Stephen A is worried about some of what he said being able to be confirmed, you know?
Yeah, I'm not messing around with that guy anymore. No, I mean not that I was not anymore. I'm not messing around with that guy because he clearly will make us sad. But yeah, I mean, geez, Jose, what'd you get out of this?
That Stephen A. Smith is super sensitive little baby.
Interesting.
Should we send this? Get some traction on that.
Like, come on, let's think of like you wrote a book. Of course, you're gonna get people to trash it. You're gonna have people praise it. I mean, you gotta
Yeah.
accept it.
And yeah, and
So
like, of course, the people trashing it are looking for clout. That
that
duh.
all,
And he's accomplished that.
but he's always been sensitive. Even when the show first take, he didn't like Max Kellerman because
Or
some
how
of the
about when,
things,
like with T.O. when he struck a nerve with him?
right? Same
Yeah.
thing. Or like Skip Bayless, he wanted to make more money than Skip Bayless when Skip Bayless left in his new contract with ESPN. Like he be acting like what I really want to say, I'm not gonna say, but he acting like a big punk.
There
It's
we
like
go. Big punk.
well, that's the PG version. But you got a number one. Was it ever a number one seller?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, like
I mean, you should be happy. You got a bunch of suckers buying your book.
which is
Congrats.
I agree, Jose, and that's why I wonder if Whitlock might be right
I
about like
totally
specifically.
realized.
I mean, specifically, like maybe Stephen A. didn't write that much when he worked in sports journalism, things like
You know what?
that. Like, I'm just trying to
No,
think of what would make him go off like
I
this.
think what makes him go off is because Stephen A. Smith has this standard about him, this super high standard about him. Like
Right.
all this stuff he did is like the most amazing crap. He thinks he's the Michael Jordan of writing, and
Mm-hmm.
then someone comes in and kind of knocks him down a little bit, and now he doesn't know how to react because he never thought he thinks it's blasphemous for someone to talk crap about him. So what he's gonna do? Act like a little punk and be like and try to destroy the poor guy. Stephen A. already won. Stephen A. got number one best-selling book. Stephen A.'s number one. It got number one show on ESPN. Stephen A. makes more money than except for Pat McAfee and ESPN. He's crapping on Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock is in freaking Fox Sport, I think. God knows what he's doing over there. Nobody's watching to go see him. And even if Jason Luck was to decide, hey, let me make a buck, you probably get his mom and maybe a family member to buy the book, and that's it.
It's
Not
something
now.
else, guys.
Now it might work.
It really is something else. But regardless, let's wrap this up. Another successful show. Like I said, next week, double duty for us. Check us out with the NFL on Wednesday. Then we have we have NFL Wednesday. We have our Royal Rumble preview win on Thursday, and then back with another TweetCap on Friday. So we'll see everybody then, and keep on keeping on. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
See ya.